Hi, I'm Mike Messier. Welcome to Messier Mantra. A very good friend of mine is returning for a second episode, Nick Albanese.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you again, Nick. And we want to talk this episode about this TV series. You're working with Armengaro, another, what was the other gentleman's name?
Robert Fornaro.
Nice. And now, do you have the entire series written? Do you have the pilot written? What stage of the game with the writing are you?
The pilot is done, and I'm in the process now of casting, and then throughout the summer, location scouting, because we're going to film it in Rhode Island. And that's basically, I've been having fundraisers. We already had one fundraiser where we raised almost half the budget in one night, which is really cool.
How did you pull that off? Was the fundraiser was in East Greenwich?
Yeah, we did we had a comedy show, we did some music, and then we had tons of, I had like 20 items for raffle.
Nice.
Had 10 items for auction.
Nice.
So really good stuff. And so it was about 100 people.
That's cool.
So we raised some money. And then, so that's the whole process, is the financing and the casting and the locations, and we're hoping to start filming in the fall.
Now, is this like a 22-page script, a 55? How long?
Oh, no, it's about a 30 page.
Okay.
32 maybe, around there.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the season, like if it went on, after we get this pitched, I have like notebooks of ideas of where characters and storylines are gonna go. But I don't know, I might start working on a next episode script soon, maybe this summer.
I guess what I'm curious about, and everybody's process is different, which is great and so sometimes I talk to people, people that want to be actors or filmmakers, and it's almost like they're looking for a field guide or a table of contents. Yeah. This is what I do to be successful. And first of all, there is no table of contents. No. There's no book that's going to tell you exactly what to do. And if there was, people wouldn't want to pay the $10 to read the book. Yeah. They'd want to get it off of Reddit or something for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I find interesting is that your process is probably a little bit different than what I would do, but I like it because you're it's an organic process. You have your first script, your 30-page script, you've raised the money, and now you're going to cast it, then you're going to shoot it. Very exciting stuff. And this is, the name of the piece is...
You'll Be Dead Soon.
You'll Be Dead Soon. Yeah. And it's about a guy who owns a funeral home and his daughter who's in law school. Oh, yeah. And then you play a character who's like an assistant type thing?
I basically his right-hand man. I'm the guy that works on the bodies, helps set up for the wakes and all that stuff. And then there's another character, Bruno, who works there. He drives the hearse. And my friend Mario is going to be playing that role. And then... there's a couple other characters in there, like the character of Armengaro's his daughter. She's in law school, and that's all he has left is this girl because his wife died. Oh, and there's another little character, Mrs. Morehouse, an older woman. She's been there working for the father of Armengaro's character. But she's kind of senile. She's kind of comic relief. And because he talks to her about one thing and she has no idea what he's talking about. Right. So she answers like another question. But they just keep her around because she's been there so long. He feels bad to let her go and she doesn't want to retire.
And if people do see this episode in time, the auditions will be in June 2019. Yeah. They can go to thelastsicilian.com and find out about the audition information.
Yeah, they can email me, nick@thelastsicilian.com, and I can send them information.
I was going to ask you in the last episode, give me just a Cliff Notes version of the difference or the history of Sicilian versus Italian for the uninformed. What's the difference?
Well, back, whatever, it was 1860 something, like, the Italy was the northern Italy. Right. They were the Italians, and most of southern Italy and Sicily were always invaded, taken over by other countries. So over the thousands of years, like so many different countries have gone in there, and right before it actually all became one, Spain had control of southern Italy and Sicily. Right. And this guy up from Garibaldi, a general, decides he's going to take over. He's going to get them all out of there, and he does. They go into battle and they boot Spain right out, and Italy becomes what it is today, all this one country. And Sicily never felt part of Italy, even though it was part of Italy.
Right.
They share the flag, and they have their own dialect. Like if you've seen The Godfather Part 2, when they go back to Sicily, that dialect, a lot of Italians they don't understand that dialect. There's so many different dialects through the country.
Reminds me of Rhode Island, a small area.
Exactly.
Get someone from Westerly to hang out with someone from Cranston, and it's like.
So I mean, I even think of the country, like how we talk up, hey, how you doing? And down south, they, hey, how you doing? Like it's just like it's almost like that, but at least we understand each other.
And then it's a big. United States is huge. Italy, by comparison, is what, the size of New England or smaller?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like this island had its own dialect.
Right.
And I think even till today, they feel like their own independent. Like you talk to them, they always say, I'm Sicilian. They'll say that
even though on the map and legally
it's part of Italy,
they're still their own deal.
But there's so many through the years that took over, that gone through there.
Interesting stuff. So going back to the TV series, so your process is you've got the 32-page script written, and next thing you did some fundraising, which is, and I always give people a hell of a lot of credit for doing that, because to go out there to put your name on something, to gather funds, to put on a night of entertainment, trying to raise some money, and then pulling that off, it's hard. You know, and from my own point of view, maybe your experiences are different, but I find that, hey kids, let's put on a show in New England is especially hard. You know, it's hard to get people to leave their Netflix and their couch.
Oh, these days it's definitely hard. It's just to get people in the theaters. I think the only movies in the near future, it's happening now, those big superhero movies or Star Wars, those are the movies you're going to go see on the screen. But anything that's just a simple story, basic characters, Netflix, Hulu, you know, Prime, Apple now has their own streaming services. People, they're comfort at home. They're sitting home and they get to watch this stuff right from home. They don't have to leave.
There's still a pulse in the theater. I went to the movies last night, and there was about 20 or 30 people on a Monday night seeing a movie at 7 o'clock.
And I think it's even tougher for theater, for actual plays, to go see the live theater. You're competing with a lot of stuff. You're competing.
That is accurate. And what I've noticed is that the theater that I've seen around here, like, you know, the Granite Theater in Westerly, they have kind of an audience that's regulars. People that see every single show. These companies, they subscribe for years. But I wonder about the kids, because it's like, how do you get a 15, 16, 17-year-old right when they get their driver's license? How do you encourage them not to go drinking in the parking lot of 7-Eleven, but come out to the night of theater or something? You know what I mean?
I think if it's something they're maybe interested in, like a subject, like I don't know, I feel like I've been lucky, because the way I write, I don't know about anybody else really in the theater community. When they're writing something, are they doing it for themselves? And I am too, in a way. But I think about the people, and I think about theater goers, how I'm going to keep them entertained. But I go beyond that. I think about non-theater goers. I try to write something a non-theater goer would be interested in. Like last October, I wrote Many Sides to the Reaper about this true story about this mob guy in New York. I kind of changed the names of the story, and I said, I got to do a different twist on it. I made the daughter the narrator of the play. The daughter was the only one that talked to the audience. And she explained her whole father's story. And it's a mob story, and around here, people, they love the mob stories. So, and we did 12, I think total, 12 performances of that. 9 at the Theater 82 and 3 down at the Granite. And we had pretty decent crowds. Like, really, like all different ages came out to see it. And I was proud of that. I was really proud of that production.
For someone watching this show who, like I said to you during the break, someone who might want to write a play or produce a play, or maybe they just have a sparkling of an idea, or maybe they have written it but they don't know what to do with it. Do you have any advice for that would-be playwright, or that would-be one-man show or one-woman show performer? Do you have any advice? How do they even get started? What's a couple of steps that they can do to get the ball rolling?
Well, if they have something that they wrote and they're ready to go with it, I think they should, like, just get together with somebody. If it's a one-man or one-woman show, have somebody from the outside be there with you as you're rehearsing it and putting it together. If it's a play with a bunch of people, If you're not acting in it, you can try to direct it or get somebody that may have some experience directing to help you. And just find a place. And find a place like Artist Exchange. There's so many little theaters around New England.
Right.
And if they're willing to give you a shot, to give you a weekend. And the whole key is to have, I think the key is to have a group of people that are passionate about it as you.
Right.
So you all can work together. Because I think theater and film is not just a one-person deal. It's a group effort.
Collaborative medium.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to have those people that believe in it as well and want to work on it. And you got to rehearse it. And if they're giving you a shot for a weekend to do it, go for it. You're not going to make any money. You might. And but I think the biggest thing is that I think most artists today lack is promotions.
Oh, there you go.
It's promoting and networking.
Right.
You got to be on the pulse, man. You got to go to places where there's other artists hanging out, or now it's social media. You go to those groups, you can find people in those groups, and if you're looking for help, you can post something. I need help writing this, and somebody might come along and say, I'll help you write it. And I think you just and once you have a product out there, like when I did The Last Sicilian, I just went out there. I placed ads on Facebook. I told everybody I knew about it. I had made out little handouts, so I'm on the street. I'm handing out to people. I'm doing this one-man play, and if they're interested in it, I tell them about it. Here you go. It's all about, to me, it's all about promotions.
You got to be extroverted or make yourself extroverted if you're not natural.
And if you're an artist that's not that way,
find
somebody, team up with a dude that is outgoing, that can help promote you.
That's a good point, because sometimes you have that artist who wants to sit in the corner and lament their navel and have other people do the same.
Yeah.
But not everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And then what I find sometimes is that actors looking for validation from other actors on Facebook. Look at my 2 headshots, and I have my nostril is flared up on the right headshot, and it's more subdued in the left. Please tell me what's a better headshot.
Yeah.
And I say, well, they're getting attention, which is good, but at the same time, maybe their attention could be pushed in a different way that's a little more relevant to other people. And so it's tough, because there's a lot of times when you're on Facebook and you see the same, and I'm probably guilty of over posting myself, but at least I try to give back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody does.
Yeah.
That online topic, as far as an artist like yourself, a businessman trying to make things happen, making things happen, how do you find that the social media or your online presence, any thoughts on that, Nick?
First of all, I hate it.
Okay.
I hate the whole social media and on the internet, and I just, there's a lot of good that comes with it.
Right.
But mostly a lot of it's bad for me.
Yeah.
And I'm at that generation. We're at that where we knew life before.
The last generation.
We knew life before the internet.
Flyers on Thayer Street.
Yeah, you did a show, you gotta hang out flyers at the cafes,
you go to Kinko's.
You put an ad in the journal.
Yeah, right.
But now, but we were young enough to learn how to use this new technology. And to me, it's just, if I wasn't doing what I do, if I was just like a regular guy working and I probably wouldn't even be on. I would have a Facebook, but I would have like 25 people.
Right.
Just family and friends, so I can show them pictures of my kids. But I wouldn't be online, really.
The privacy issues are horrendous.
Forced. Yeah. Basically, I'm forced to be, because there's no other way to get your product out there now.
And I've taken breaks. I've taken breaks as long as 4 months or so from Facebook, shut down the account, and then you get too many people telling you about too many things that you missed out on, or I was going to invite you, but you weren't around.
You do miss out on opportunities, too. You miss out on events,
right?
And that's why I'm like forced to be on there, and I realize it's the only way for me to get out to the masses of what's going on, what I'm producing, what I'm writing, what I'm doing.
I'm a quick blocker now. That's my secret. Yeah. If I see someone giving me a hard time or a friend of mine a hard time, I'm quick to hit the block button. Yeah. Because I kind of make a quick judgment call on someone and their moral compass or lack thereof. If they seem like an argumentative online person, I'm quick to hit that block button, because I'm like, you know what? I can see the pattern this person's going down. Yeah. They're looking for a fight. They're looking for a conversation or an argument. Yeah. And I just don't want to spend the time on it.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Right.
And that's the whole thing too. The whole social media. I think that's divided people so much over the last few years too.
Yeah.
On all this different subjects, political or whatever. And I just don't even get involved in that stuff. I just do my own thing, and I have my beliefs, but I don't spur them out there for the whole public to see, because people right away they'll just attack.
Yeah, they call it. I think Joe Rogan calls it tribalism.
Tribal. That's a great. Yeah.
Yeah. People want to say, "Well, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican."
Why do you have to be on a? Why can't you just be independent, rational thinking human being?
Yeah.
And make up your own mind. Don't you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I think some sides, they both have good points.
Right.
And some of them both sides have bad points. You know, why do you have to be one side? I don't get it.
Well, I think some people like to validate their opinions by making other people feel that their opinions aren't valuable. Yeah. And that's the thing with life is we're all going through with goggles, so to speak. We're all wearing our own glasses. Yeah. We're all seeing things from our own perspective. Yeah. And sometimes we feel that in order for our opinions to be validated or be correct, someone else has to be incorrect. Yeah. And it can be touchy.
Yeah, it does. It gets really touchy.
Let's get back to the origins of Nick Albanese. How did you get started in the entertainment world?
Oh man, I was doing one-man shows in my backyard as a kid. Yeah. I would be like, 7, 8 years old. Right. And I'm like the only kid that has cable on the street so far. And my immigrant parents, they're off sleeping. and they have me watching. I'm like up late, no curfew, and I'm watching stuff on HBO I shouldn't be watching probably at that age. I'm thinking back, wow, what I shouldn't have been watching
like
that.
The Billy Crystal specials.
Oh, yeah, Porky's.
Oh,
like those 80s movies. And none of the kids in my neighborhood watched those movies, but I would be in the backyard the next day acting out the movie, playing all the roles, and they, why is your kid acting out Porky's for my kid? Like, and my parents are like, I don't know.
Did you have siblings, or were you?
Yeah, I was the youngest.
Okay.
I have an older brother and sister.
So they were, how much older were they than?
My brother's 5 years older, and my sister was 7 years older.
So you had.
So they were like their own team, and I was on my own.
You're the young guy standing up watching the HBO specials.
I like being by myself, playing with my G.I. Joes, go out and build a fort, And
what were some of those early comedy specials? You must have been watching the HBO comedy hour. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Who did you like?
Oh yeah, man! Eddie Murphy was great.
Raw and Delirious.
Delirious. And again, I was so young, I shouldn't have been watching that stuff. And then Sam Kinison, when he exploded on the scene, man, he exploded. Yeah, he was like crazy.
I was thinking about Eddie Murphy when the aunt falls down the steps. Like one of his, she fell down the steps. She fell down the steps.
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, I think it was Delirious or but a woman falls down the steps. Yeah. You have to, but Sam Kinison with the screaming and the
I did like stand up as a young age, but I didn't start stand up until I was like 30, almost 30 years old.
Where was that?
I started. I did an open mic night at a place called Stitches at Providence Place Mall.
Oh yeah, that was a fun place.
I was there for like 2 years.
Yep.
And I was Wednesday nights. They did the open mics, and I went to check it out one Wednesday to see what it was like. And I talked to the guy running it, John Parada. And he said, all right, come next week, but you got to bring whatever, 12 people or something, some amount of people. I said, all right. And I brought like double the amount of people. And it was packed. I was like the 8th one on. And I remember all the people before me went on. Yeah. Were just bombing. Nobody laughing. I'm like, oh, I was getting really nervous. My time was coming up. Like, this is a tough crowd. Yeah. But I got up, I'm not tuning my own horn, I got up there, and I remember I did a lot of like Italian humor. I did a couple of like Buddy Cianci political stuff, and Sicilian was the mayor at the time, and not too political. And then I did, just mostly like Italian family stuff, and the place was just roaring, like started laughing. And then I got off stage, John was like, you sure this is your first time? Yeah. But I told him, no, I done theater. I'm not afraid to be up on stage in front of people, but yeah, this is my first time doing stand-up. So I started working with him, started hosting shows, and So that's how it kind of took off.
And then you got into the Providence Place Mall parking lot, and you had 4 tires, and a couple of comedians were walking by. And, hey, what's up, Nick? Because you said you killed tonight. Have a nice drive home. Yeah, have a nice drive home. I remember those kind of mid-2000s as being like a couple of years where the Providence comedy scene, and you had different places kind of popping up. And there was a guy, you probably knew him. What was it? His name was Chach. Guy, he was baldish, but he had a hat.
Oh, and
he played guitar. And
he ended up in an episode of Brotherhood?
I think so.
As well, he played like a mechanic.
Chach. And he would do, he would run stand-up comedy open mic nights. And I famously got us kicked out of a venue.
Oh, really?
Because of the a miscommunication or a mispronunciation of the video game Photo Hunt. Which there was a slight mispronunciation on my part of the name of the game, which some of the audience members were playing while the comedians were doing their routines. It became a very controversial story, but we'll save it for another episode.
Right.
Now, speaking of Brotherhood, you were on Brotherhood, and you played a councilman on some of the episodes, which must have been a good experience for you. Yeah,
it was season 2, and I went down. I got a call from the local casting, and they said to come down and audition, and I went in there, and I was driving limo. I remember at the time I was driving limo for a few years. So I would drive a lot of these guys. Henry Bromell, rest in peace, he's passed away now. He was one of the producers.
Years ago. Thank you, Cody and Kevin in the studio. This is from Brotherhood.
That was the first scene I was in.
This was on the Showtime network.
Yeah. And Henry Bromell, who wrote and produced the show, I would drive him from the airport back home to where he was staying in Providence, and I drove some of the cast members. So there I got called to audition. I walk in, and who it is? Henry Bromell and Michael Carenti. Was directing the episode.
Right.
And then he's like looking at me like funny. And I was like, he's like, do I know you? I was like, yeah. I drive you around all the time. Oh, he's like, oh, Nick. Like, oh, all right. It clicked, you know?
Yeah.
Because I must have drove him probably 6 times before then. And then they had me read for the councilman. Actually, they had me read for a contractor first.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to go play a gangster or something. And they're like, no, councilman. I said, councilman, gangster, same thing in Rhode Island.
That's
same thing in Rhode Island. Well. So that's actually a line in my show.
That's pretty good.
So and they asked me to read. They liked it. And they said, can you stick around and read a councilman role? I said, yeah. And they gave me the script. And they had me go in the hallway for 5 minutes to look it over.
Right.
And they said, let us know when you're ready. And I let them know I was ready. And I went back in and I read for that. And that was it. It was like, thank you. You know, they don't say anything. Like, thank you. Thanks for coming in. And I leave, and I was heading down to the film meetings they have down at the Wild Colonial.
Sure.
It was a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And I was going in. Right before I hit the door, my phone rings.
Oh, wow.
Casting director. Hey, you got the role. You got to be at City Hall tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
Was that Annie?
Annie.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. We're emailing you the script tonight. You got to learn your lines by tomorrow. And it was that fast.
Yeah.
And get 2 suits, 2 different suits.
Yeah, you get 2 suits. It's 6 o'clock at night on a Tuesday.
I get the suits. I print out the scripts, and I was up all night just reading those lines over and over. And that's supposed to be the State House.
Right.
But we actually filmed in City Hall.
That's cool, man.
And we did the 2 scenes in one day.
It's a cool scene. I didn't want to show the scene on the show because it's copyright from Showtime, but the scene kind of has the guy at the head of the table, a high-ranking official, judge.
He's in the wheelchair.
And he exposes himself, meaning that he exposes he's corrupt and he's on the take. Because he's kind of negotiating different construction companies or something. He says, I'll throw in. The key words is that he's supposed to be a paid official. And he says, I'll throw in, as if he's negotiating, and all eyes kind of turn to him, knowing that the corruption is in. It's obvious.
And then it's when he starts, at the end of the scene, he starts to lose his memory a little bit.
Right.
So he froze.
Right.
That character ends up having like dementia or something. That's when it started during that scene.
It's a terrible disease. Yeah. So it's a loaded scene. And
he swears at me.
Yeah.
It kind of puts me in my place.
It's intense. I saw an old friend of mine in the background, or one of the guys, Mark Fogarty, I think, was in that scene too. I think he was in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so it's just cool to to know that Providence has had a pretty rich history in the last 20 years at least.
Yeah.
For film and TV.
Yeah.
And
it comes and goes.
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
Let's get a few words in for your TV series coming up. We're going to do the pilot. And you got Armin, you got more casting to come.
Yeah. And I have the guy directing the pilot, is filming and directing it, is Eric Latek.
Yes, and he did a boxing movie.
A documentary on called Tiger about
Gary Boletto.
It's supposed to be really good from what I hear.
Yes.
It should be coming out soon. And he's a talented guy, really a great filmmaker. And Armin's the one that kind of told me to talk to him because we worked together before. And we met, and we were supposed to have just a short meeting. We ended up meeting for 2 hours. And he really liked the script, and he wanted to do it. So, and that's the beauty of it. So hopefully, you know, once it's done, he's done editing and it's done. He has people in New York that pitch stuff for him. And hopefully they'll pitch it to somebody you never know, HBO or Netflix or anybody. If somebody picks it up, you know, we're all in business.
So the idea is to do the pilot first and then use that to get further interest, funding, and network.
Yes.
So it's very important that this pilot is on point.
Yeah.
That's good. Eric did the doc about Gary Boletto. And funny enough, I interviewed Gary Boletto just about 15 years ago, and he had a son at the time who was probably 9 or 10, and the son was a character. Like his 9 or 10-year-old son was just a loudmouth kid, and a good kid, but he was a real kind of vibe of you thought the kid was his manager or something. And now, 15 years later, the kid is fighting mixed martial arts for CES MMA at Twin River. So the kid is in the cage doing the mixed martial arts fighting. So that's how time flies around here.
I know, man. It goes by quick.
Yeah. Well, Nick, anything you want to say in the last minute or so? I'll let you off the hook with the mantra because you did the mantra the last time.
Okay.
But any final words for the Messier Mantra audience?
I don't know, man. Just just follow your dreams.
Yeah.
If you have a dream, go for it. And you know, there's always going to be. I think people get sidetracked or they get depressed over like people that are maybe behind their backs, like being the haters, right? Just ignore them. Just do what you do. Follow your dream. I think if you work hard, you're gonna get to it. You know, and I think having haters is a good thing.
You're nobody till somebody hates you.
Yeah, exactly. I think the more haters you have, that means you're doing something right.
If they're not jealous, it doesn't mean you're
doing something right.
Yeah.
And then, but you're gonna have those other people that are really 100% behind you, and want you to achieve those dreams. And I got a handful of those people, and I'm grateful for them. You know, they keep me going. You know.
And your wife and kids are part of that.
My wife is a huge support. You know, so. Not many women will let you just do all these crazy ideas and write this stuff, and I got to go produce this, and you know, and my kids are all for it too. They're all for it.
That's great. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for coming on Messier Mantra one more time.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Thanks for watching Messier Mantra. We'll see you next time.